There are moments in life when you stand at the edge of who you were and who you can become. I was there, just like many of you, tired, broken, pretending to smile in the daylight and drowning in silence at night. But something changed, not because life got easier, but because I got wiser. And it all began with 5 habits, 5 simple choices that changed my life in just 1 week. Pause, let that breathe. This is not just a speech, this is a mirror for your soul, for your pain, for your possibility. Let me take you through the 5 habits that reshaped my destiny. And I promise you, every word you hear, every pause you feel will echo in your chest. And maybe, just maybe, this week your life will change too. Habit 1, waking up at 5 a.m. winning the morning you ever seen the world. Before it wakes up, there's a kind of silence at 5 a.m. that can't be explained. It ain't just quiet, it's sacred. It's like the world is whispering secrets to only those who show up early enough to hear them. At 5 a.m., you don't have to fight traffic. You don't have to fight noise. You don't have to fight expectations. You just rise. Then let me tell you something. When I first started waking up at 5 a.m., I wasn't looking for success. I was looking for peace. Because see, my nights were filled with restlessness. My days felt like survival. I was reacting to life instead of living it. I was tired, not just in my body, but in my soul. You know that kind of tired, don't you? But something happened that first morning. My alarm went off, and I wanted to hit snooze. God knows I did. But something inside me whispered, get up, not shouting, just whispering, get up. And I listened. Pause, slow breath, I sat up. My bones ached, my heart ached more. But I put my feet on that cold floor, and I walked to the mirror, and I looked at a man I didn't recognize. Puffy eyes, slumped shoulders, spirit dim. But in that stillness, I heard it again. So I did more than wake up. I showed up for me. I made my bed, not because it mattered to anyone else, but because I needed to matter to myself. I drank a glass of water and felt it like a baptism, cleansing the exhaustion from my chest. I stepped outside, just stood there in the dark, and then I saw it. The sky slowly turning from black to blue, the stars bowing to the sun. And I realized this world, this beauty, this grace, it was always here. I was just too late to see it. And when you wake up at 5 a.m., you meet the day before it has a chance to defeat you. You don't check your phone first. You check your breath, your being, your truth. You write down what matters. You stretch your body, you pray, you reflect. You move like someone who knows life is not promised, but possible. Pause, deepen. And yes, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, but so is staying the same. Let me ask you something. How long are you gonna sleep on your own potential? How long will you keep waking up last? And wondering why your life feels behind. You can't change your life if you don't show up to it. And every morning you rise, early, with intention. You're not just waking up, you're declaring war on your old story. That snooze button, that's not comfort, that's surrender, but waking up. When it hurts, when it's dark, when it's lonely, that's power. Pause, let it simmer. That first week I woke up every day at 5 a.m., no excuses, just commitment. And by day 3, I cried, not because I was tired, but because I saw myself again. I remembered my strength, I remembered my hunger. I remembered my why. 'Cause mornings don't lie. They reveal who you are when no one's watching. That's your truth. And your mornings, that's your battlefield. You win the morning, you win the day. And if you win 7 mornings, you start to win your life. So no, it ain't easy, but it's worth it. Every second, every sacrifice. Get up before the world tells you who you should be and remind yourself of who you are. Because that version of you, the one that rises in silence, walks in purpose, prays in the dark, that's your real self, and that self deserves a chance. So tomorrow, when your alarm goes off, don't hit snooze. Hit destiny. Habit 2, 10 minutes of silence meeting yourself. There's a voice inside you that you haven't heard in a long time. And it ain't because it stopped speaking. It's because the world got too loud. Too many screens, too many scrolls. Too many people telling you what success looks like, how to live, who to be. And in the middle of all that noise, you forgot the sound of your own soul. That's why I started sitting in silence, just 10 minutes. No music, no phone, no talking, no distractions. Just me and me. And let me tell you something, that first time, it wasn't peaceful. It wasn't pretty, it was loud in my head. Loud with regret, loud with fear. Because silence doesn't bring comfort at first, it brings the truth. Pause, but I stayed there. Because I knew I had spent my whole life avoiding me, avoiding that little voice that kept whispering, "You're tired, you're scared, you need healing." And the world teaches us to run from that voice, drown it in Netflix, scroll it away, laugh over it, drink over it, work over it. But what if the very thing you're running from is the only thing that can save you? Pause. Heavy that second day, I sat again, 10 minutes, no timer, no agenda, just breath. And slowly, the chaos inside started to settle, like a shaken snow globe, everything swirling, then finally still. And in that stillness, I met myself. Not the mask I wear, not the titles I carry, not the roles I play, but the real me, the little boy who used to dream, the teenager who used to believe, the man who got lost somewhere along the way, but never stopped trying. Softer now, and that man, he needed to be heard, because your soul is not dead, it's buried beneath the noise, beneath the pressure, beneath the pretending, and silence is the shovel, it's the doorway, the bridge back to yourself. Pause, deep breath. People ask me, why silence? Why not meditate with music or listen to something inspiring? And I say, because I'm already full of other people's voices. I needed to hear mine. I needed to hear the pain I kept quiet for too long. I needed to hear the guilt I never processed. I needed to hear the dreams I silenced because life told me they weren't practical. And if I'm being honest, sometimes I cried in those 10 minutes, cried for everything I buried just to survive. And that's okay, because silence isn't weakness. It's meeting God with no script. It's standing naked in front of your own soul and saying, I'm ready to listen now. Pause, then rise. And on the 5th day, something beautiful happened. I wasn't afraid of myself anymore. I looked in the mirror after those 10 minutes and I didn't see failure. I didn't see a man trying to be strong. I saw a man who was strong because he finally stopped running. 10 minutes, that's all it takes. 10 minutes of sacred stillness, to remember who you are, to hear what your heart is trying to say, to grieve what you never gave yourself permission to grieve. To love yourself in the silence the way you've been craving from the world. So I ask you now, can you sit? Not scroll, not fix, not escape. Just sit and meet yourself, because the version of you that's coming, the healed version, the fearless version, the purpose-filled, fire-breathing, heart-led version, that version is waiting in the quiet. So tomorrow after you wake up at 5 a.m., sit 10 minutes. Just be, just breathe, just listen. And I promise you, in that silence, you will hear something louder than any podcast, stronger than any quote, more honest than any mirror. You'll hear you. And you're worth listening to. Habit 3, writing one honest page a day, telling the truth. You ever carry so much in your heart that you forget how to feel? Like you're walking through life, but your soul is limping, smiling at people while your chest is screaming. Saying I'm fine when your spirit is bleeding. I lived that way for years, until I picked up a pen and wrote the first honest sentence of my life. Pause. I'm not okay. That's it. That's how it started. One page, one truth, one raw, unfiltered, unedited whisper of reality. And for the first time in years, I exhaled, because there's something holy about writing, something sacred, not typing, not tweeting, not posting for likes, but writing with your hand, with your brokenness. It's like your soul finally gets a voice. Pause. I didn't write to be smart. I didn't write to be poetic. I wrote because if I didn't, I would have drowned in the silence of what I never said. Because truth, it builds up. And when you don't release it, it leaks. Through anger, through anxiety, through depression, through self-doubt. But when you write, you give that truth a place to live outside of you. You don't carry it anymore. You confront it. And that's where healing begins. Pause, then go deeper. Day 1, I wrote about pain. Day 2, I wrote about what I miss. Day 3, I wrote about someone I forgave, even if they never said sorry. Day 4, I wrote a letter to the person I was 5 years ago. Told them I'm proud of you, even if nobody else ever said it. And day 5, I wrote my own name and said, you matter. Slow, intentional. Some of you are carrying stories no one knows, words you never said out loud, traumas you buried so deep, even you forgot where they lived. And this habit, this sacred act of writing, it's not for the world, it's not for Instagram, it's for you. It's the mirror your soul's been waiting for. Because when you write, you're not just expressing, you're unpacking, you're making room for new beginnings, you're shaking hands with your past without letting it own you. And that 1 page a day, that's your proof. Your proof that you're still fighting, still trying, still breathing, even if no one claps, even if no one sees it. That page is your revolution. Pause, slow burn, and you don't have to be a writer. You just have to be honest. Write what hurts. Write what heals. Write what scares you. Because in the end, your freedom won't come from pretending everything's okay. It will come from facing what's not, from naming your storm and walking through it anyway. So tomorrow, after your silence, write 1 page, just one, even if your hand shakes. Even if all you write is, I don't know what to write. That's honesty too. And if you do it for a week, just 1 week, you'll start to feel lighter. Like the chains you wore so long are finally starting to fall. Pause, let it breathe. You are not the pain you hide. You are not the shame you carry. You are not the voice in your head telling you you're too broken to begin. You are a story worth telling. But first, you gotta tell it to yourself. So tonight, grab that notebook. And tomorrow morning, bleed on that page. Because your truth is holy and your healing is waiting. Habit 4, 1 act of kindness daily, healing through giving. You want to know the day I started healing. It wasn't the day I got an apology. It wasn't the day I finally felt strong. It wasn't the day life stopped hurting. It was the day I gave something to somebody with nothing expected in return. 1 small act, 1 soft gesture, 1 moment where I made somebody feel seen. And in that moment, something cracked open in me. Because the world teaches you, heal yourself first, then help others. But I learned something different. Sometimes the fastest way to find yourself is to give yourself. Pause, slow breath. You see, when you're broken, really broken, it's easy to believe you have nothing to offer. You're tired. You're empty, you're numb, but there's a truth the world doesn't shout loud enough. You can still give even from your wounds. And sometimes especially from them. Because kindness isn't about having it all together. Kindness is about saying, even in my pain, I choose to love. Pause, slow rise. So I made it a habit. Every single day, 1 act of kindness, not for recognition, not for reward, but because when you've seen darkness, you know how powerful even the smallest light can be. And that light, that's you. Day 1, I held the door for someone who looked like life was heavier than they could carry. Day 2, I bought coffee for the person behind me, left without saying a word. Day 3, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in years, just to say, I forgive you. And day 4, I looked in the mirror and gave kindness to the person I had ignored the most, myself. Because sometimes the hardest person to show kindness to is the one wearing your skin. Pause, but the more I gave, the more I found. Not money, not fame, meaning. Because what you give in love never leaves empty. It echoes, it expands, it heals both ways. Every time you speak life into someone, some of it falls back into you. And if you're watching this feeling empty, hollow, numb, I want you to hear this. You still have something to give. A smile, a hug, a note, a thank you, a you're not alone. These are not small things. These are the threads that hold this world together. And I know it's hard to be kind when life's been cruel to you. But hear me, you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become despite it. And choosing kindness, that's power. That's rebellion. That's choosing to let light win. Pause, let that burn. You don't have to fix the world. You don't have to change 1,000,000 lives. Just touch one, just one. And maybe, just maybe, that life is your own. So tomorrow, after you wake up early, after your silence, after your truth hits the page, I want you to go out into the world and be someone's reason to hope. Be the proof that love still walks this earth, that compassion still exists. That in a world of noise, 1 quiet act of love can change everything. Because kindness isn't weakness. It's warfare against hopelessness. It's healing in motion, and it's free. So give it every day, everywhere, to strangers, to friends, to the forgotten, to yourself. Because if you can do that, if you can become love in a world that's lost it, you won't just heal others. You'll finally heal you. Habit 5, no phone 2 hours before bed, reclaiming your mind. You ever lay in bed, but your mind's still running, eyes closed, body still, but your spirit's pacing. You ever feel like you're trying to sleep, but your soul forgot how? I know that feeling too well. because I used to think rest meant lying down, but I learned true rest, it means putting everything down. Pause, slow breath, see your phone. It's not just a screen, it's a door. And every night, right before bed, I was opening that door to everything. Bad news, perfect lives I couldn't compete with, arguments I wasn't even part of, distractions I didn't need, pain I wasn't ready to process. And night after night, I handed my peace to a piece of plastic glowing in my hand. Until I said enough. And I made a promise, no phone. 2 hours before sleep that first night, it felt like detox. I kept reaching for it, like a habit, like a crutch, like an addiction. But that silence, that stillness, it started to whisper, this is what your mind sounds like without the world screaming over it. Pause, deeper now, and what I heard broke me. Because in that silence, I realized how long I had ignored myself. I was feeding on noise because I was afraid of what I'd feel in the quiet. But let me tell you something, that quiet, it's where healing begins. Because when you unplug, you reconnect to your soul, to your breath, to your life. No more comparing your life to a stranger's highlight reel. No more letting negativity plant seeds in your subconscious while you sleep. No more scrolling yourself into anxiety. Instead, you read a book that feeds your spirit. You sit with your own thoughts, even if they hurt. You journal, you reflect, you let your body exhale. Because peace, real peace, doesn't scream. It waits in the hour before sleep. Pause, soft tone. 2 hours may not sound like much, but those 2 hours, they changed everything. I started remembering dreams again. I started sleeping deeper. I started waking up lighter. Because when your final thoughts at night are yours, not the internet's, you rise with clarity, not chaos. And I know it ain't easy. Your phone is comfort, escape, entertainment, but also, it's a thief, stealing time, stealing rest, stealing presence, and you deserve better. You deserve you. Pause. Now firm. So I challenge you tonight, turn it off, not just the ringer, all of it. Put it in another room if you have to. And reclaim your mind. Let your spirit detox from the noise. Let your soul speak again. Because if you're always consuming, you never get to create. And if you're always listening to the world, you never get to hear God. Pause, you are not a machine. You are not a robot. You are not meant to be constantly stimulated, constantly busy, constantly performing. You are human. You need stillness. You need darkness. You need space. You need silence. You need you. So tonight, do this for your soul. No scrolling, no replying, no checking. Just being. Let the peace you've been chasing finally find you. Because sometimes the most powerful act of self-love is just putting the phone down and saying, I deserve to rest in peace, not pieces. Maybe you're watching this video alone. Maybe no one knows how heavy your heart really is. Maybe you've forgotten what your own voice sounds like without pain in it. But hear me, you are not done. You are not broken beyond repair, and you are not alone. These 5 habits, they're not magic, they're reminders that you matter, that your time matters, that your healing matters. So choose this week, just this week, choose to wake up with purpose. Sit with your soul, write your truth. Give even when you're empty, and rest like your mind deserves peace. Pause, then raise, because if you can change 1 week, you can change forever. And I believe in you, I do. Even if you don't yet, pause again, let silence speak. Now go change your life. I'll be right here every day, waiting, speaking, believing for you.